Okay, Dad's loading a hay bale onto the back of our truck. I'm just kind of watching through the camera to make sure it gets on okay. Yep, there, cool, it's on, Bella. We have a job to do today, don't we? Do you know what we're doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing with this bale?
We are going to drop it off at
Sheeps. We're gonna go feed sheep.
Peeps.
Yeah.
Peeps.
That's what we're gonna do. So sometimes we would take a bale like this. I'm just gonna get turned around. Sometimes we would take a bale like this and take it with a loader down to neighbors of ours, friends of ours just down the road. But roads are really sloppy and wet and mucky just because things are melting. So we're gonna drive it down, maybe see some new little lambs. But first, actually what we're gonna do is I'm going to show you one of the things we did. This is Barnwise. We started our discussion on what type of robots to get. And so first up, we're going to see what a Lely robot looks like. All right, Ryan, we're here looking at an A5. Can you tell me what it's doing? Walk me through how it's figuring out what it's doing.
Sure. So as she walks in, the receiver up above will read her collar. It'll know what animal, the last time that she was milked, what her projected milk should be this milking, and if she's due to be milked. So obviously she is, because the arm is swung in, and now the brushes are cleaning the teats and the udder, and after that we'll try to attempt to put the cups on.
So now this is one of the things that is a bit unique for the Lely perspective, is the brushes. That's how it's cleaning the teeth.
Yep, so we've got counter-rotating brushes, and this is a feature that we've had from the A2 right to the A5. So counter-rotating brushes, there's two different bristles on that brush. You can see the red and the white. One is for letdown and one is for cleaning. So we'll go in, get enough stimulation, and cleaning of the teats and the bottom of the udder itself. Quick look on the screen here. So this is the new user interface for the A5. We've got production per quarter, total production. Obviously we know what cow it is. We can look at her cow info. It'll show days of production, her feed that's allotted to her per milking. This is her fourth lactation. So it gives lots of data that way. And yeah, it runs the same software as you would see in the office. We call it T per seed, time per cow. So her expected box time is 8 minutes 40 seconds. She's at 3 minutes now, and she's been fed 1.1 kgs.
And now that 1.1 kg, it obviously shows it full. That's how much she's
allotted.
She's allotted.
Yeah, okay. So we'll spread it out over her milking to keep her interested, obviously, for the whole milking. And then it's showing that it's going to the bulk tank. You can have 4 different destinations. One obviously being the bulk tank. Second one can go to the M for use buckets here. 4 separate buckets for milk separation, like colostrum or treated milk.
Like basically collect that if I wanted to feed calves.
Correct, yes. Yep. Another destination would be straight to the drain, or to a secondary milk line, a calf line.
I'm gonna sneak up here. Because that's another difference I've seen between robots is the box here is a little bit bigger.
Yes.
The cow has a little bit more room to move. But but it's obviously compensating for all of that.
Absolutely. So starting on the A4, we moved to what we call iFlow, and I think that's our biggest advantage for our competitors in robots. We have a straight in, straight out design. You'll see when she's done, the feed bowl will swing inside the cabinet, so there's nothing there for her to hang around and pick at. Largest box. We used to index our cows in the A2s and A3s.
Indexing meaning like you're sizing them so that if it's a small, it's going to make the box smaller.
Correct. We would compensate for her size and squeeze her in there. Once we went to the iFlow, the larger box, more freedom for her to move around, we noticed that visits went up, production went up. So yeah, it's been one of our greatest features on the robot. It's definitely the iFlow design.
One of the big differences, probably the biggest one, would be noticeable in the arm. We went from a pneumatic arm to an electric drive arm associated with that. And the main reason was, Lely was a pneumatic company and stuck with pneumatics because of cow safety. Okay, so like if it bumps up against an animal, you're bumping with air pressure, right? So it'll build slowly, it'll have some give associated with it. The A4s, if a cow fell on the arm, build up more than basically 150 psi and the arm will drop associated with it. So the electric drives we like because they're more efficient in terms of energy. So every time we change modes of transmission, we lose energy. So going from electricity to compressed air and compressed air to movement takes more energy than going from electricity to movement.
Yeah.
Okay. But the problem with the electric drives is a lack of give associated with them. So what Lely came up with then is this hybrid arm. So the cylinder that you see right here, this is actually an air cylinder, but it's just charged with air. It doesn't actually consume air. It has like a bladder tank associated with it. And the idea would be when it's up and charged and running, it works kind of like, a lamp where you pull a desk lamp over and you let it go and it stays there wherever you put it. The arm would work basically the same way as that, using this Y linkage associated with it to carry the weight of the arm on it. And then in the Y direction, like the front and back, it's carried on a carriage that it rolls off. So that takes care of a lot of the weight issues of that arm. We have still some air for cushioning and positioning, and then we can get away with a smaller electric drive because the weight of the arm, and we like the big arm because of the durability and our ability to house like equipment inside of it associated with that. I can actually show you over here. We want to keep the pulsator close to the liner. For the liner to function, it's got to go vacuum, no vacuum, vacuum, no vacuum, back and forth. The longer the hose is, the more air you have to pull out to create a vacuum, and then you got to let it all back in again. So it's in, out, in. You're just moving the air back and forth. So the longer the hose, the less crisp we can dial down the whole milking process associated with it. Okay.
So is that basically what it looks like then in that mothership?
These are the pieces, strip
obviously
out.
Longer, but
In and through. So the liners themselves, the two hoses, one for pulsation, one for milk flow, in through the pre-milking device. So this is the device here that captures 9 cc's per quarter, the first 9 cc's in and through. We capture, there's a little vial in the bottom basically that holds 9 milliliters, floats up to there's a float inside, floats up to the top, seals that off, and then milk just flows over top of it from there on in. But it's a measured amount of milk, the same amount every time from every cow. We know exactly how much that we're forced through. The brushes move underneath, stimulate, and again, by the time you'd be looking at it installing, our new software platform would actually adjust the amount of stimulation depending on the cow's milk flow characteristics. So we just talked about the cow walking in, dropping milk like a stone. Doesn't need really, we just clean and attach. Another cow might come in and we know she'll require a lot of stimulation, so the brushes will adjust to that automatically.
Well, that's funny you say that, because that was one of the things we had been talking about before was, how some maybe go clean once, some people may clean twice, kind of to get that stimulation depending on what they thought necessary. It's going to figure that out for itself.
Exactly. The data is all there. We'll be able to utilize that, and that's just one of those pre-treatment optimizers, basically what we're calling that option. The idea here is These are more moisture resistant, they're more dust resistant associated with that. And more than anything else, it gives us a lot more processing power on a lot more, I'm going to say, modern system that you would go out in the robotic world and find this type of processing system.
Gravel roads as things melt. Yeah. You're in an open station cab tractor, I can assure you, this gets in your face and you start chewing on it if you're not careful. So putting the window up, throwing the bale in the back when it's only one bale to deliver, and just rolling it off, whew, that's a lot tinier of a job. At least for us. I'm definitely going to need to wash the truck here pretty soon. I wonder if you can get a more lopsided bale. Did you get any good videos of the lambs, hun?
Yeah.
Did you? And the ewes? Which one? That one, did you get any videos of that one that did a little stomping? Yeah, she's a pretty protective mom, isn't she?
Get away from my lamb.
I know, she was funny. Cool. See a robot, see some lambs. Not too bad of a day. See you next time, everybody.